Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Meals and Wheels. Our recipe today is a chicken burrito bowl. This recipe is easy and affordable. First off, we are going to put a liner within the crock pot. This is a great way to make easy cleanup after the recipe. However, for myself, I went to my local grocery store and they did not have any liners left, so I brought some oven bags. They're very simple and easy, just as similar and cheap as a liner. So we're going to take that, put it in there. And wrap it around. Perfect. Push it down a little bit in there. All right, so first up, what we're gonna do is add our chicken in here after you've got your liner in. So I'm just gonna easily wrap off the top here and dump it in without touching it. Grab the end bottom here as that fell off. Go. Oh, wet my hands a little bit here. Wonderful. Dump in my garbage. I am going to add just a little bit of olive oil in here just to help with the chicken so it's not sticking at all. So I'm going to dump a little bit of that in there. Olive oil is also really good oil to have. Its fats are a lot better than like a regular Pam or vegetable oil. So now that that is added, next thing we're going to do is add our spices and herbs. So let's grab those from up here in my cabinet. Perfect. All right. Let's close that for now. All right. So first off, we are going to add a tablespoon of cumin here. All right. So since my tablespoon doesn't fit in there, I'm going to just kind of eyeball it here and overload it just a little bit so it happens. I'm going to dump a little bit back in there since I dumped a little bit, but I'm just going to kind of shimmy that over my chicken in here. There we go. Clean it up after myself. All right, next we are going to add some chili powder. There, so about a tablespoon of that. We're going to just kind of shimmy that over our chicken as well. Perfect. All right, so next up we are going to add a half tablespoon of crushed red pepper. Put that over top of my chicken there. Perfect. Next up we're going to add a little bit of black pepper. Basically up to your preference on how much you want to add. So I'm just going to grind up a little bit in here. There. Next up you can add salt. Up here again, so let's open that on up. Perfect. All right, so next up I'm going to cut my onion. So all you're gonna need is half of a red onion to put in here. So simply by cutting my onion, I'm basically just going to cut little strips into it. To the side. If you do not have an onion with you in the truck, you can always use onion powder if you have that. So I'm going to cut it in half now. Got a few of my little strips I missed. All right. Now simply I'm just going to take it and chop it up. Perfect. All right. Just make sure that's all chopped up. I'm gonna take this and just scoop it all over my, so I'm gonna take a little bit out of there. It looks like there's a few rough pieces. There we go. Maybe some there too. There. Just gonna dump those on top of my chicken in there now. Scrape it all off. All right, next up we're gonna cut up the garlic, but first I'm actually gonna turn my AC on because it's getting a little hot in here, so. There, perfect. So first up, when you get the garlic, be very careful with your knife as you smash it down. Oh, thanks. There. This helps to get a little bit more of the essence and flavor of the garlic out before you chop it up. There, perfect. So now I'm just going to dice it up here. I'm going to move these out of the way so I'm not hitting those. There we go. All right, now that it's a little diced up there, I'll do my next one. There we go. Let's dice these up now too. Done there, we'll take that and put the garlic in there. So next up, we are going to add our canned ingredients. So that will be black beans, diced tomatoes, corn, and we've also got green chilies. So you can actually do a fresh green chili, but I just actually grabbed a can because it was quicker and cheaper, and it was easier to leave with for a longer period of time. So I'm going to grab a quick spoon here to spoon that in. Actually, I have one down here. Perfect. So I'm just going to spoon about what I think one green chili would be. There we go. Next, a half cup of corn. Once I open that up, I do have to strain out the liquid, so I'm gonna grab a bowl and a strainer here. So simple, easy way to do this is basically to just have a bowl, add your strainer to it, just so you don't have to get out and dump things out. Strain in the corn. There we go. Throw out the pan. Perfect. Strain out the juice of the corn. A little bit of juice is fine. And then dump that over top. Perfect. All right, so next up, since I do need to strain and rinse my beans, I'm gonna do my beans next. I'm gonna set my tomatoes out of the way as I do that. So let's open these on up here. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna dump my beans in here. Go, throw that out. Perfect. So since I need to rinse them, I'm going to take just a bottle of water and rinse it over top. And then kind of strain them out a little bit. A little bit more water. Perfect, there. So now since I've rinsed my beans, I can dump them back into my recipe. Perfect. All right, so next up I'm gonna put my diced tomatoes in there. So I'm gonna add all of that in there on top. Perfect. Throw that out. So next you're gonna put lime juice in. Perfect. It might be a little bit more than a tablespoon, but lime juice is always good to have. So after I'm done with my lime, I can just toss it out here. All right, so next up I'm gonna grab a big spoon so I can stir up the ingredients in here. All right. Really help move all that stuff around in there, around your chicken. Make sure it's nice and covered in there too. There. Perfect. All right. So now that I have all of that in there, I'm going to cover it back up here. With that, we're going to get a recipe started. So either you can cook it for 4 to 5 hours on high or 6 to 7 hours on low, and we're gonna cook ours for 6 hours. So let's get it started. Now our food should be ready to go, so let's check it out here. So we're gonna unseal our top here. We can see the nice steam coming out of there, nice and hot. Lay that down. So first what I'm going to do is actually shred up the chicken now that it is cooked through here. So I'm just going to take 2 forks and take it and just pull it apart, and it should come apart really easily. Get that all pulled apart there. Great, there we go. So I'm going to clean off my forks here, come back and grab my big spoon and just mix it all together in here. There, we've got our great recipe. So now that we've got our chicken cooked and all of our ingredients in there, we're going to prep for our ingredients to put in our bowl. All right, so with these, I'm gonna have to hold on to this. You're gonna wanna break the bottom of that, so if I can get it to break there for me, so I can pull out my center. There we go. Over there. Now that I've got a few chunks of lettuce here, I can either chop it up. You can actually, instead of making it into a bowl, I could actually use these and make it into a wrap, a lettuce wrap. If I don't want to use like a tortilla or anything, if I'm avoiding some carbs in my diet, I can easily do that. But for now, I'm just going to chop a little bit up. I'm going to grab a bowl out of here, so once I'm done chopping it up, I can put it in my bowl. So I'm going to set my bowl right here for now. I'm going to pull off this end, it's a little purple there. Perfect. Pull my lettuce together a little bit so it's easier to chop up. So take it and just a little chop here. Perfect. Hold it this way. There. This does make about 6 servings, so you do have a good amount of food left over that you can store in the refrigerator up to 4 days, or you can also put it in the freezer for up to 2 months. So you can add all that lettuce on in there. Now that I've got, a good bunch in there, I'm going to set my bowl back off to the side here so I can clean up this extra lettuce that I have that I can use, for later when I'm ready for another batch for tomorrow or the next day. So clean that off there. And I will store that away in a container later. So I'll move that out. Keep my cutting board here. So next up I'm going to cut some tomatoes to put on there. So easily I'm just going to slice off the side of my tomato here. I'm only going to need about half, so I'm going to keep the other half and just cut up the rest. So I'm just going to chop it up into little squares here so I can add them on there. So just a few slices. Perfect. Move my knife out of the way. grab my bowl and sprinkle some of those tomatoes on there. So now that I've got all those on there, I'm actually going to take some paper towel and clean up my cutting board, just so it's not all full of the tomato juices here. So like that, and give that a quick wipe. All right, and lastly, I'm going to cut up my avocado. There, cut it from the side, twist it so I can open it up. Oh, hit it hard enough. Get my, there. Take that on out. Perfect. I'm just gonna cut up a few slices here. So being careful with slicing it within my hand. I'm gonna cut them up in actual cubes here instead of dicing it. So a little bit thicker chunks. Don't want to push too hard through the avocado here so I don't cut through and slice my hand, but just, a few slices here. Get it up. And I'm gonna grab my bowl and just simply going to take it and carve it on out and add some of that in there. All right, and so if I don't use the rest of my avocado, simply just take them and wrap them up in cleany foil, not foil, but cleany plastic wrap. They'll last in the refrigerator for up to 2 days afterwards. So great option for that. I'm going to actually take the rest of mine here and put it in this container for now, just because I might eat it later as a snack. So dump out the end here, as I don't need that anymore. And I'm also going to add a little bit of cheese to mine as well. So I grabbed just a quick little $2 Mexican cheese blend here. So I'm going to put a little bit of that on there. Feta cheese or goat cheese would be good on here as well. But I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of cheese on there. And good. Perfect. All right, so there is all of my ingredients in there on top of my chicken. So you can always change up what you add in there as well. But super excited to give this a try. So before I do that though, I'm gonna thank you guys for watching. If you do test out this recipe and you like it, or if you do any kind of different ingredients in there, please leave them in the comments below. It's always great to see what people change up in the recipe. But I appreciate you guys for watching, and check us out through our next episode. So let's take a bite here. Thanks for watching.